There you go.
All right. Welcome, everyone. This is Mark Rossetto. He is judging this month, or August, the competition that we had. I'm actually really thrilled to have Mark with us because he was an APPA judge at the recent APPAs, and this competition was all about really challenging yourself to enter something that was all your own work, rules that were like the APPAs, little bit of leniency, but like the APPAs. So this is why we've got Mark here to judge this month and to share some wise words of wisdom as well. So Mark, can you just share a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Hey guys, I'm Mark Rossetto. I am an APPA judge. I'm also a master photographer with the AIPP as well. Check out my wall of awards right there, people.
Woo.
Super cool. I'm primarily a family portrait and wedding photographer. I owned a photography studio based in Melbourne that we used to photograph about, I don't know, up to 500 family portraits a year. And now I sold that a little while ago, moved to Queensland, and now I'm a full-time coach. So Karen, I help photographers learn how to become photographers and make a business out of it and actually make money, because it's great having the photography skill as a craft, but it's even nicer when people pay for all the time and effort that you're working for. So that's what I do now, and that's where the story's at. It's all happening.
Fantastic. That is awesome. And Mark, it's actually, we're really grateful that you're giving away a coaching session to the winner as well. And I know that so many people are excited about that because, yes, as you say, it is sometimes so hard to make money from the thing that we love. And, you know, particularly compositors and those of us that are putting in all those extra hours to create something, to know how to market it and to run a successful business is, you know, essential. Otherwise, you know, we're not going to be able to continue in doing that. So thank you, Mark, for what you're giving away. I know they're going to appreciate it. And if anyone would like to get business coaching, Mark is the one to contact. So we'll put all of his contact details up in the link at the end. So yeah, thank you. I guess we're going to go to judging our entries. Mark's going to bring those up on the screen so that we can see them all and go through them one by one.
So here we go. So these are just obviously Karen's amazing pictures. We're going to play with first. Let's just make sure that's working on the screen, which it is. Okay. Yep. So how this is going to roll is that I'm going to press my little arrow here and click through to the images. I'm not going to let you know how many images there are that we're judging, but I will be talking about each image individually with the composite, the lighting, the storytelling, the narrative, the realism, the highlights, the shadows, everything that we would at a critique night or at the judging level as well. We won't be giving a specific score because we're just going to talk about the print as it is, give you some hints and tips. And the best part about this program that I love the most is that we can draw our own little capes and we can kind of help you out and show you where we can, where you can improve on as well, which is super cool. I love this program. Okay. So without any further ado, let's go next print, please. Okay. So this is a beautiful capture here. I love the colors and the tones that they've had is all quite dramatic as well. Clever use of the lighting, really clever coming in from the two sides. Things that distract me are these two little stars up top here, because they're not really from lights. They're just placed there for effect, but it's not really giving me anything, Karen. It's kind of like it's drawing my eye a little bit to where it doesn't need to be. The other part that we need to be careful of is just if that's a wall, it's a very crooked wall. I do like it the same shape as the bag, but if that's a wall, that should be straight, just like the pillar is here. So that's just confusing me a little bit at the same time. And what I would love to have is, this is such a really powerful, strong shot. I just want to see her punch it. Like, I want to see a connection and a little bit of oomph in the story. I feel the capture's there, but I don't believe it, because the bag is swinging, but the punch isn't collided. And even if the punch is collided, she doesn't look like she looks like she's about to punch it. It's not the end of a punch. Yeah. So just the believability when you're creating these, just make sure that you can believe that it's actually happening at the same time. Great use of the lighting underneath here with your grid lights, and it's so cool to see the building, and you can see that is a wall there. It's just not straight in the picture, and it's kind of distracting. But apart from that, I think the image is quite beautiful. You're quite clever in taking out the Superman as well, because that yellow would have been really distracting. And I love that you can see the boxing behind it. You got the highlights of underneath the wood frames, and got all the good kind of bits in there too.
Yeah.
Did you want to add anything to that, Karen?
Yeah, I'll just add a technical recommendation to straighten that. The way that you can straighten that, you can do that in Lightroom. You can do it in Photoshop, obviously, and use Transform. But in Lightroom, there is some automatic straightening options that allow you to straighten up walls, and you can just click and it'll do it. So usually I would do that before I open up a background in Photoshop, do the straightening in Lightroom, fix it up, then take it into Photoshop and keep working. So otherwise, you can straighten that in Photoshop as well. Yep.
Cool. All righty. Next print, please. All right.
It stresses me out when you say next print, please. It's just bringing back the worst weekend.
Freaks you out a little bit. This is a really clever image. The colour of the yellow on the neck with under the eyes, and the red lips, and her eye colour is just absolutely stunning. I really like this image. I love it that you've got the focus in all the good bits where it needs to be, and it fades away nicely, so that it's very much so the focal length of what you would have in a real print. The only thing I would say is that you've got all this really beautiful smokiness through here, which is really nice. And then on the top of her head, it's really super clear and super sharp. Yeah. It would have been nice to really focus in on those eyes a little bit. But apart from that, I actually think this is a beautiful capture. The only other part is that I'm not sure if this is leftover food or if it's supposed to be there, because there's white dots everywhere. Looks like someone's had a cup of milk just before taking the photo. That's distracting a little bit, but beautiful capture.
Yeah, fantastic. Great feedback, Mark. That's excellent. Yeah, it's hard for us to tell because we can't actually zoom up any further on these images. So sometimes we might miss things that in an APPA situation, when you go up to a print, you can see, a lot of detail. So things like that, if it is leftover milk or whatever, would be picked up, in that circumstance. So yeah, it's good to really analyze your print down to the pixels.
Yeah, pretty much. All righty, let's print. Oh, this is so cute. I love this. I think this is very clever. Standing back to start with, I love the narrative and the story of the teddy bear, and this little girl sleeping is just technically it's just been retouched so beautifully, composited, stunningly. This little girl, so this little girl and this little girl looks absolutely stunning. This one looks like we're placed a little bit. it's just not as believable. Maybe because it's super sharp in this area, where it's nice and soft everywhere else. And the other part with that shot is this this highlight behind is just really distracting. Just doesn't need to be there. It just kind of takes, it's just an element that could be retouched really easily, but just doesn't have to be there. But in terms of the story, I think it's beautifully created. I love the white little dots with the little fairy things. Well done to the photographer.
Yeah. Fantastic. One way that you can kind of soften off that little fairy at the front, one way that I do that often is just bring the opacity of that particular layer down, maybe down to 95%, just a touch, so that some of that light and colour from behind come through, but not enough so that you're seeing like the bear behind. And yeah, just maybe go in a bit and soften off around the hair particularly. Just to blend it a little bit more, but I agree, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful image.
And if you can crop it maybe as a square,
yeah,
you've just got lots of this space on your right-hand side that doesn't really need to be there. It doesn't add anything to the image itself. I like the space, but it's so heavy on the left and it's just kind of nothing on the right. But if you put a plant here, it would look really busy. So I reckon just change your cropping to make it a square, give it a bit more breathing room, because I did it quite quick at the front. You're on a winner.
Yeah, fantastic.
Okay, let's go to next prints. Okay, this is a nice little moment being captured. Really just distracted with the little girl's eye that's looking upwards. I need to look a bit closer. I know it's looking at mum, but if you're smelling something, you would smell it looking down, I guess. I don't know. But I guess you could smell it and then get a smile, then look up. It's just a little bit of a distraction. And maybe the hair across the face as well. If we had to put the hair behind the head, like so. I like this program. This is fun. It would just put more focus onto the moment as well. The green and the purple is just super strong, super strong for the other soft colours out there that you've got surrounding the image. So maybe tone down those colours. And again, what Karen, you said just earlier, with making sure the blend is a little bit more seamless. Yeah.
One thing too that I know we've covered this before, when you're working with miniature scenes, so it's been taken close up, and there's a very shallow depth of field going on in the scene itself, but our subjects are quite sharp. There's not a lot of drop off in regards to the front of them and the back of them, and that's a bit of a conflict there. So there's a couple of ways around that. I would recommend focus stacking the background if you can when you shoot it, so you get a little bit more depth of field, so that when you place your larger subjects in, it matches. So either that, or you need to go even shallower with your subjects, but there's only so far you can take that. So focus stacking can work really, really well when you're shooting something that's miniature, to make it look like it's not miniature anymore.
Beautiful. Great feedback, Karen. Great feedback. So very, very cool. Okay. We go on to this print. I love the simplicity of this image. It's beautiful. That the wind is blowing in all the right directions, which is clearly going this way because the dress is there. But the curves and the shape that we have from her bum to her back and curled over, and then this mess of hair has just... it's just a really beautiful shape. What works really well is the lines of the clouds are all directing your eyes into the moment as well. So I can't stop looking at her. It's a good problem to have, Karen. I can't stop looking at her. She's that color, the palette, the tone, the way it's been worked is just absolutely stunning. So I think that hats off to the photographer. You've also technically, obviously, it might be different, but you've really got all the detail in that fine material with your highlights, which could have been blown out so easily. You've captured that really, really well. So just make sure that, I'm pretty sure that she's in the middle of the print, but just if she isn't, make sure she's dead smack in the middle. And I congratulate you for beautiful artwork. I love the tones and colors. That's probably my favorite.
Yeah. I love that red hair against the bluey grey sky. I think it works really, really well. Yeah.
I just with the story too, if you really want to dive into a story and try to get a little bit more story out of it, you could go down the roads of, the stormy clouds and the roughness of the waves is where her mind is at. But the stillness of the sand is flat and calm, that even though the mess is in her head, and I'm diving into a bit of story here, but if there was some elements that would take me further into that story of getting through the storm, I think this could have a lot more carry on if there was just that third element that we talk about all the time to draw me in it with an extra bit of the story, not just a beautiful artwork.
Yeah, that's so true, Mark. I think, when I was watching the APPAs last weekend, I noticed so much the judges coming back to the story. It didn't matter what the print was or what category it was really always coming back to the story. And so if you can draw someone in, even if they don't get it when they first look, if they can start to unravel a story in your image, then that's going to be, if you're entering in the APPAs or the WPPI or whatever it is, then you'll find that your print score goes higher because you get the judges talking and kind of considering what is it actually about.
Yeah, and what you want to do, it's kind of nerve-wracking at the same time. You want to try to split the panel, meaning you've got people that score low and people that score really high. Yeah. Because someone like me who looks for stories, if I catch a story, and I know, Karen, with your print that's behind your head, I don't know what you call that kind of print.
Yeah.
The judge that caught that story literally caught it and ran with it. And that's why it scored so well, because you had time to really dive in there and pull it apart and create it. So, awesome print. Let's go to the next one. Okay. Beautiful. Same story, same style of work. I presume it's the same photographer. Your control.
Photographer. Yeah, now we can't. Now, normally I say I think maybe the rules were missed that it's 1 entry per person, but let's give feedback on this one. Whoever it is can't win runner-up and first place, just so you know.
Just putting it out there. Cool. What I love about this print is the circular nature. I love it that you've got, she's crunched over as a circle, and then you've got this beautiful curve. But then you've also got the earth carrying through, and you've got just enough vignette to keep it as a circle. So potentially, I'd need to play with this a little bit more, but potentially if you did this in a circle print, this could be really cool. Let's just see if I can play. So you can...
just to clarify what I said before too, she can win one or the other, but not both, just in case that wasn't clear.
Now this is obviously really rushed, but you get the general gist, obviously.
So you can match your print circular as well, or any type of matting when you're entering the APPAs. You can go circular with the mat.
It would just really draw my eye into all the good spots, all the things that I love about it would draw it in, and you don't need it as a square because everything else on the outside is irrelevant. It doesn't add to any scoring. So I would print this both as a square and a circle, but just from clicking on that to take it off, I would go circle all the way. I think that would look absolutely stunning.
Yeah, fantastic.
So yeah, do you want to add anything?
No, I think you've covered it all. I love, again, the tones. I just really, really love that touch of red in the hair, but then the grey, slightly cool tone. So it's that warm against the cool. It's working really well for me.
Yeah, the texture. I would love to see this printed and printed really high quality. The one thing that you would need to really watch is when you print this is your banding in the sky.
Yeah.
That would be one thing that would be really cautious, but I'd love it if you got all these textures come through the paper.
Yeah.
I think it would just be, I actually would love to see this printed. I think it would be stunning. So congratulations to whoever you are. All right, let's print, please.
What?
Okay, this is a cool little story, isn't it?
It is.
Cool little story. I want to know what the dog's looking at.
Yeah.
This one here. What are you looking at? What are we looking at? What's over there? I'm kind of distracted by what's happening here I just want to know more about what's happening over there. Because the dog's looking that way as well. And he's not. So if the old man was looking maybe in that direction as well, and you had a hint of something coming off the side, it would let my imagination go wild. But the dog's either really distracting me and not making me focus on what's important, which I presume you want me to look at is here.
Yep.
I'm distracted by what I can't see, not what I can see. The other part too is that your highlight that's behind the head through here, whoops, wrong button. My drawing skills. The highlights behind what's here is a little bit too bright. Like it's too bright compared to what you want me to see. So I'm not sure what you want me to look at. My eyes are they're darting between looking at him and looking at here and looking over here.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure what the sheep have to do with any. I know he's probably like a shepherd, but it doesn't look like a shepherd in terms of like a farmer keeper type thing. But I'm conflicted. I'm confused.
Yep. So the story, the story's maybe needs a little bit more work to bring it to make it more obvious to the viewer looking at it for the first time. That's another thing that I've learned from entering the APPAs is that, the judges, when they're judging, only get just a few seconds, really. They go up to the print, they look at it, and then they need to decide what it's about from that. And so if the story is a little bit confusing, then that will kind of bring the score down. If you can give a few more hints or direct the viewer's eye more, then that will certainly help. So yeah, I think that's where maybe the story needs a little bit more refinement. I love the look of this one. Like, I always love this particular person's work. She has a very, very obvious style. It's just the tonings and the color and the way that she produces it, which I think is always a great thing, to have your own style and have it to be recognizable. It's a good thing in the general public. Sometimes though, that doesn't work so well when you're entering something like the APPAs or WPPI, because if people know straight away it's yours and they judge you on that, can go the wrong way. So yeah.
Sometimes can. Or the worst part is they think it's yours, but it's actually not yours. And then they judge it going, hey, great print. I'm so glad I judged it. And you're like, that's not mine. So
True.
As a judge, you've got to really be careful to kind of go, oh, it could be this person's, but I've got to to blank it out. And even if a judge, if I knew whose it was, I would step off the panel anyway, and get replaced with a judge that can judge the print for what the print is, not for who you think the author is that's connected to the print. So got to call it as all right, next print.
Okay.
Okay. Looking. Very nice. I want to know how to braid a
I know.
horse. Just that in itself is awesome. Again, just the believability of the story. I'm just struggling a little bit with the connection between the horse. Like, you've got this majestical, beautiful creature and she's just kind of sitting there looking at it. And I love the tones, the colors, the way that images has been worked. I just don't get the connection between the two. Like, maybe the pose of her is just too generic, that she's literally been told to sit down and look that way. Where if you had a horse that close to you that had a unicorn, I would pat the little guy. I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, have this amazing wonder rather than just looking up and sniffing her feet. Yeah,
it's true. It's complicated, obviously, to make that happen because the author would need to have that picture of the horse already prepared, which I highly recommend. If you're creating an image and you're putting someone in it, if you can get that set up, so you've got the horse there, and then you can actually photograph your subject and make them connect. You can do that. You can tether. You can, try a few different poses. You can use a few different ways of connecting them. Maybe have someone else that plays the part of the horse and is in position of the horse when you're photographing them. That would really help, because I agree. I think, patting, as much as it's harder, obviously, to pull it off, to get that connection and get that photo right, but it would really strengthen this image. To me, it does look like she's looking at the unicorn's horn. Rather than the unicorn's eyes or the head. It sort of looks like she's looking at the tip. So all of those things, eye connection are really important. Sometimes I even move eyeballs. If I haven't quite got it right, I'll move eyeballs and I did that on the one that I entered into the APPAs, the commercial one. I had to move his eyeballs because he wasn't looking in the right spot, but it was the best shot. So yeah, you can use a few tricks to make it happen, but if you get that background ready, then you do the shoot with the subject, it'll really help to make them connect.
Beautiful. Awesome. Let's look at the next print.
Cool. Oh, we did it just before we talk about the next print, because I'm keeping an eye on comments. Yvette Martinet asked, where is the best place to map print circular? I know my framer would do it. I don't know if you have any recommendations, Mark. Yvette's actually in Sydney, so.
I would most of the matting companies now have a digital mat cutter. So don't let them cut it by hand because it's really hard. So just ask your framer, your matting place. If you have a digital mat cutter, they can cut anything to size, to shape, to look. I had my guy cut my APPA into a Superman shape.
Which was awesome, by the way. It was the best thing ever.
It's here if you want to see it. But
yeah, sure. You inspired me to do something different with my mats. All my mats have been square up to now. And I think I need to be creative with my mat shape, maybe. I saw some that were framed like a window. This is so good. This just really makes it. Yeah.
So I'll have to talk so it picks up me and not you. But that's my Superman print, which is super cool. So I made the guy do the matting. I gave him a challenge and went, let's do this. Now, the trick with this, you've still got to make sure it's 26 centimeters. Is that the right size? I'm pretty sure it is 26.
Yeah, minimum. Yep, 26.
Minimum 26
Mm-hmm.
from left to right. And this got us a silver award, and it was good fun.
Woohoo!
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. Okay, moving along with these prints. Okay, Lightning McQueen. The colours and tones and Lightning McQueen and Mater and what's the Ferrari guy's name?
I don't know.
I've watched this movie a million times with my kids. I love the colours and the tones. With the little boy, I just don't believe him. Like, I would love to see him in a race car suit or something.
Yeah.
Like something to connect the dots a little bit, because I presume that you've got toy cars and taken photos of it and made them bigger. And to have him in a race car suit and also might give it a little bit more story, because what would Lightning McQueen be doing down in like a forest? Like, it's just kind of like if he was on the Daytona racetrack. And I know that in Cars 2, they did the World Series and they went through racetracks and different grounds as well. But I just don't believe that they went through this grounds. The colours and tones, the tonal range is beautiful. Just the little boy's expression and the connection is just not there for me.
Yeah. There's a few other little things that maybe you can look at during the shooting part of this. I touched on it before with the focus stacking and shooting miniatures, and you can see a lot of drop off on the back of that car there. But where the little boy is, he's in focus, so there's that conflict there. So focus stacking, I do have a tutorial on that shows you how to do it. But it would make a huge difference in making it look like that car is there and matching with the focus of everything else, like the tree that you've got there in the background. So there's that. There's also the reflections in the car. If you look at the reflections, you can see all those lines and you can't really see any of that in the scene itself. I don't know where they've come from. It was probably during the shoot that something reflected onto them. So a trick you could do is when you photograph it in the same sort of scene that you're wanting to place it in, so that you can actually get those real reflections in the car. Or photograph it so that it's quite flat and then add that as a reflection. I do have a tutorial on adding reflections as well. So if you're kind of confused on that, there are ways that you can do that in post with Photoshop. Yeah.
Cool. Happy days. All righty. Let's print. Ooh, that's nice, isn't it?
It is.
Oh, I love the little bird that she's going to pat. The unicorn, which is stunning. The silhouette is beautiful. The mountains, the control of everything is done so well. I'm moving around my screen because I'm kind of trying to look for different things. It's beautiful. I really like this. It's simple, it's clean, which is really, really, really nice. I'm thinking that maybe the crop could be different. If we cropped it, well, not we, if you cropped it like
frames it a whole lot more, doesn't it?
And got rid of everything on the left, potentially, see if that works. Oh, look, there you go. Learning new things every day. You just really just draws your eye into that space.
Yeah.
But I do like the tree by itself. But if we really want to focus on something and not get distracted by the ducks in the background, this would be beautifully placed. The little bird on the back here is very clever. It's just a little bird just sitting there. And what you'd find in your kind of judging, if we're talking APPAs or state awards and things, is from a distance, this would be quite striking. And as you dive in, you would see these little birds here And here, that would just make you go, oh, that's clever, isn't it? It'll just give you something. It'll just reward you for getting in close. So yeah, that's my feedback.
We call them cookies or Easter eggs, don't we? Just those little extra things that make you look twice. Yeah. I just looking at it, a little bit of feedback just on the tail, maybe the horn. I'm wondering whether that should look more like a silhouette. So I'm seeing the white in the horn and the hair, and it's not really matching up with everything else being a silhouette. So probably look at darkening those up a little bit.
Cool. Okay. And if that's printed, be careful of losing all your details in the blacks. If that's what you want to do, you'll need to make it intentional. If you want to keep the details in the blacks, you need to make that intentional, and watch out for the banding in the sky, that there's enough separation from the sky to the mountains that you can see all those different layers.
Yeah.
So there you go. That's print.
Next one.
It just makes you want to sing the Lion King. Okay, so first thing I don't like is the zebra's bum in the girl's face. Like, it's just right there. If that zebra was not, well, I'll circle it. If this zebra was not a part of the scene, it would be better. It's just distracting me from the little girl. And I love the couch and the leathers and the patterns. I want to see more of the little girl. I want to see her more because she's just lost completely. That's probably my strongest feedback. The colours are really nice, but Karen, I'm sure there's lots of technical little things there that I'm sure you're going to dive into as well. And just watch out for the lighting on a little girl and the pose and the face and the hand, the expression and the light that's hitting the top of the rug. Pretty much all the highlights that are on the very top. Just have more control.
Yep. Yeah, good feedback, Mark. I do know that I do know the author, and I do know that the little girl is Talia, our little one that can't walk and can't speak, and that was actually photographed at the lodge, Jamala Wildlife Lodge in Canberra. So that was Rosie's shot. Now, so the pose of little Talia is probably a bit harder to control than if it was, another child. But the lighting there, we've got that backlit couch and that backlit kind of look. And I think, we need to see more of that coming through to match from the scene. So more light. So we've got that really strong orange sky, but it's like the light's sort of not flowing over the rest of the scene. So, the giraffe, I think we could have a look at changing the highlights and shadows on that giraffe. And the way that we do that, so at the moment that I can see, I can't do the pencil thing, but that giraffe that's closest to us, the head's in front of the tree there, that the light is on the top of the head and kind of facing us, whereas it should be more of a rim light if it's coming from behind. So shading more of the giraffe and more of a rim light would create a bit more realism there. And the same thing with the tree. I think the tree looks a little bit too front lit and needs to be changed so that there's a little bit more light from behind. So it's really tricky when you're putting a whole lot of images together, to work out how the lighting should be. And I always say, if you can start with that one thing that you're not planning to change, and in this regard it would be Talia on the couch, and then you build it up from there, making sure that every element that's placed really does match that lighting direction and do it that way. So it's definitely well on the way, but I do think it does need a bit more work to make it more realistic, make it more like it really happened. And just the tree, around the edges of the tree, there is some white. And so that probably needs a little bit more cutting out work because you can see some white around there. There's a really easy way of fixing that by creating a clipping mask and painting maybe with a dark green or a green colour multiply mode around where that white is, and that will actually make it look like the white's gone. It'll get rid of the white and make it look blend like it's the tree. So hopefully that helps.
Very cool. Now, if I was the judge and not knowing the story of the little girl,
yep.
The hard part is if we were to judge the print for what the print is, it's pretty much irrelevant. But now knowing that information, you would take more time to position her in a better way, knowing her limitations then. Like you would just change. If you were to put a crap load of pillows, can I say crap load of pillows? Crap load of pillows here then, so that her body is actually sitting at the front, that she's resting on the pillows, that you can see her more. And if someone was to hide behind the couch and kind of hold her so that the pillow is not covering her up, you can manipulate the situation that way. So when we are limited to what the subject can do, we need to go above and beyond to go, well, this is what we can do to make it work at the same time.
Yeah,
so
that
cool.
is true. Although I will make an excuse for Rosie, because I know she barely had any time to take that shot, because we were running through about 5 of us doing different shots. So it's a challenging situation when you've got a very, very limited time. But yeah, it's true. Can I just say one other thing? And you talked about it, and this is in regards to my image of Talia with the butterflies. I actually entered it into WPPI, and I was even able to put a title, but I don't think they read the title, because the judges didn't understand. They didn't know Talia's limitations. They didn't even really notice the wheelchair at all. They just saw it as a beautiful picture of a girl flying in the air with butterflies. It didn't have the impact I was hoping, and it scored 75, which is professional practice, but it was certainly lower than I'd hoped. And knowing the background and knowing the story and all of that, you hope that you would kind of get a little bit higher than that. So it's tricky. It's very, very tricky. It even comes down to knowing which images to choose when you enter these competitions, knowing that the judges just have that very short time and no information behind it to make sure you choose something that they're going to understand. This print, this image for Talia and her family is incredibly special. I know how important it is to them. So in the end, something like this is meaningful for the people that get it.
Cool. Alrighty,
cool.
Let's print. Let's do it. Okay. It's a very nice moment. When we're looking, the first thing that I look at is really need control of those highlights, the light. You've got all these hot spots coming through all throughout the horse, and then on the shoulder, and just the hand, and just the back of the hand, and just the foot. That they're the first things that my eyes get distracted with. And I'm not sure where the lighting is coming from, because it should be from above, which it looks like it is with the lighting that we have. But all of a sudden it just drops off to darkness here, but then there's still lights coming through. So, and that hand at the back is super distracting because it's just really bright, and so is the hand at the front. So I can see what the author's trying to, or photographer's trying to do a bow for both of them, but just more finessing in the craft. That's all. Yeah,
true. I think maybe they've done some dodging and burning to bring out some highlights, but perhaps that's taking it a little bit too far, and it needs to be dialed down. And and with that light on the hand, if possible, if you've shot on RAW and you can edit the smart object in RAW, you can bring down those highlights very naturally, and try and balance it out so they're not drawing the eye away from the main subject or the main area.
Yep. Very nice. All right, next print. Okay, I presume that this is the same author. see how there's just a lot more control with the lighting? Like there's just a lot more, there's just like, it's just so much more consistently down the lead and on the top of the horse and on his head. Like you can see all the lights are in the right spot, which is great. What I would like to see more light on is this part here, the back of the bird cage. Because if you're going to make it a bird cage, and that's quite a strong focal point, you'd want to make it really clear at the same time. But the shape is beautiful. It's quite clever. It looks really real. It looks
like it was shot like that.
I'm kind of like, is it real? Is it just one frame, or is it like a multi-frame? Because like, you know, like everything's in the right spot. So I'm being confused.
I'd love to know. So if the author can let us know, but I do think it's real. I'm looking at those shadows and everything, and the light. I think it's in camera. Pretty amazing capture.
It's very cool. So apart from that, I've got nothing else to really add. Will it score well in the awards? If you were going to put it in the awards, it's all down in this aspect. It's all down to the print quality and the printing and the paper choice, and the control will make a big difference. So yeah, good work. Next person.
That might be, is that the last one? That is the last one. We're through them all and we need to make some decisions. Or you do.
I do. Wow. Well, thank you very much. Okay, so I wonder if I can make my screen a little bit of a different shape so I can see them bigger. Just bear with me. There we go. Now I can see them all. Can you guys see them all? I'm sure you can.
Yep.
Okay, so Karen, we're doing a first place and a second place.
Yeah. You want to start with the second place runner-up?
I'll start with the runner-up. Looking through what we have. Now, I'm going to go the first and second place to what's presented, not what you could have done to make it better. Because I think with the changes, obviously, that will change the whole aspect of what there is. But what's been presented is really beautiful. So first of all, I just want to congratulate all of you for taking the time and effort to do what you do, because I think it's pretty amazing. But runner-up, the second place for this, and I get to draw colours. What colour should runner-up be? I'm going to go, let's go orange for runner-up. So if you see a circle around your print, that means that's you are the runner-up. For what's presented and for what we see, I'm going to go, I'm stalling now.
Suspense.
Because I'm torn between what could be and what we've got in front of us.
Oh, that's hard. Well, it has to be what is, doesn't it?
What is, I would go as a second place. I would go, Pam Coleman.
Well done, Pam. Well done. Woo.
Yay, Pam. I would love to see this printed. I think it would be stunning. And I think both of these prints have a ginormous amount of potential to be award prints. Now, it just comes with a big warning. The warning is that you can't have the same subject twice. Big warning, because people have, it's happened before, people. Choose your strongest print and go with whatever's the strongest. So congratulations to Pam. I'd love to see that printed. I think that would be stunning. And the winner of this would be Or can you see? It is
Ah,
Charmaine.
I
Charm?
think
No,
it's
Charm.
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 Yep, Charm.
You are the penguins. I love this print. I think this is, when I saw this turn around straight away, I actually thought that this shot has got my attention in all the right spots. The colors, the tone, the look, the feel, the presentation, the quality of the light, the eyes. I would love to see this printed with a few twists and turns that you could do. And I think that this would make a stunning award print. Even if it was in the APPA awards, like you might have to take it further because it's all down to the print quality and the actual paper and everything else in between. But just in general, as a nice, beautiful, striking image, I think you've done extremely well. So congratulations with that. And well done to everyone that has entered. There's lots of potential. And I think if you revisited some of, and take away the tips and hints that we've given, make the adjustments, and you'll see the difference it can make. Oh, Charm's crying. Don't cry, Charm. I'm crying. Thank you so much. Don't cry. Now, what I'll do, Charm, can you get in contact with me, and we'll do some coaching with you, and I'll, you know, let's have a chat and see if I can help you out with wherever you're at, and get you to where you want to be nice and quick as well. All right.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much, Mark. I know Charm's going to get so much out of that time with you. Yeah, it's been such an honour to have you, and I know you have to go pick up the kids now, so we're completely out of time. But yeah, really appreciate it. And any of you that are considering needing business coaching, you really want to see your business take off, you want to start making some decent money, talk to Mark. Join his group as well. We'll post a link to that. He's got a group that you can join, and yeah, have a chat to him.
Perfect. Thanks for having me, Karen. Appreciate it. And yeah, if anyone needs a hand, your artistry of what you guys create is phenomenal, and you can't charge like normal portraits. You're actually in a really, how do I put it, creative space. And your business needs to be really creatively designed to make the most of all the time that you put into the artwork. So would love to have a chat with anyone that loves to see if I can help you out, or just need some basic advice. And Karen, thanks for letting me hang out. Appreciate it.
Awesome. It was good. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thank you, Mark.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.